So something else I have to do is parking brake. So it's going to go back here. Where am I? Here. It's going to go back here, and then it has to come up and run up to the cab, and then you have to get a little pulley stick thing so you can have a parking brake. And there's some measuring we have to do for that. Ta-da! So when we cut off, I was putting the boots on the plug wires. Oh, yeah. But then I had to check some stuff. So in order to check some stuff, I had to put the cab on. I got the transmission dipstick filler tube thing installed. It just slips in the transmission. There's a rubber grommet, it slips in. It's pretty easy. There's a mount on the back that bolts to a bell housing mount. And I had to elongate the hole because it was pinching right here. So I had to move it over like 1/2 inch. And then it fits. So we're good there. I got the cab centered, measured, in place to make sure all that was right. And then I got a little distracted, which happens. So I started working on the 4-link. It was just hanging loose. So pinion angle is supposed to be between 3 and 5 degrees, right? So on this one, you can pull the links off, and then the ends are adjustable. So screwed them out. And now I got to measure to make sure that everything's, square and flat and straight and aligned and all of that other stuff. The problem is it's a 40-year or 80-year-old truck. It's an 80-year-old frame. It's been extensively modified. But when I put my brackets on, I squared all this up. So now I want to measure, I think. So if I put a measuring tape, I don't want a measuring tape right there. Yeah, I do. So if I measure here, fuck. Oh man, that's less than 2 feet. So that's 22 inches. That's 22 inches. That's 23 and an 8. 23 and an 8. And I was on the outside, so I'll come down here. $23 and an 8. It's actually 23. No, wait. Yeah, cool. So we're the same coming this way. That means that it's going to be the same coming up. It's not, you know, it's not this away. If it is, it's, you know, just a minuscule amount. And then this one, it doesn't have a panhard bar. It has the red track bar. So it bolts here on this pivot point, down there on that pivot point. So in theory, there should be no sideways movement because of the way it rotates. It's on the inside and the inside. So when you're going up, it's not gonna squeeze it too much because the whole thing pivots like this. I guess if you get into the extreme, no, not even then, because you only got like 4 inches travel. But I need to center the drive line in the frame. So I tried all sorts of different measurements, and you know, none of them are easy, but here's what I figured out. So if we run the tape across to the brake caliper, we can pick up, and right here on the edge of the frame, I'm at 49, we'll call it 49 and 5/16. Remember that, 49, 5/16. If I come over here, I'm at 48 and 7/8. So let's do that math. Quarter, 8/8, quarter, 3/8. So we're like 3/8 and a 3/8 plus a 16th. Let's just say half an inch. So we're half an inch this way. So we need to go 1/4 inch that way, and that'll take up this quarter and give us that quarter, and that gets us centered. So we adjust that on that track bar in the middle. So we want to come this way 1/4 of an inch. That was really easy. I probably should tighten those up. And then give it a bounce. It doesn't bounce at all. Those are some stiff springs. Now we're at 49 and a half. 49. Going the wrong way. 49 and a half. $48. 3/8. It's going the wrong way. $49. $49 on the money. Give it a bounce. $49 and an 8. Ouch! Wrong way. $49. Ah, what happened? Wrong side. 49. Bam! Lock it down. What's the torque spec on those? All you got. I mean, they're not going to go anywhere. They're locked in. You'd have to take the big bolt out to rotate them. And then, where's that stupid tape measure? Here. It's 49. 49. $49. Your application may vary, but we're equidistant going this way, which means we're straight, and then we're equidistant going this way, which means we're straight. So the truck should drive straight, at least from the back. We haven't even got to the front alignment yet. And then probably when it goes on the rack, it might need some tweaking to make sure that everything's, lined up straight. But that's why we pay those people money to do that stuff for us. Unless we want to try to figure it out in the shop. I mean, it's possible. Okay. So, why did you bother doing all that? I have to measure for parking brake. Are those little differences going to matter if it's off of 3/8 of an inch? Not really. But I needed to get this centered anyway. Here's some things that are strange about this kit. So if you look down, this big huge silver chunk is the bushing for the rack and pinion. We don't need that on the rack and pinion because of the way it's laid out. But then this bar runs pretty close to this. So this is all going to move at the same rate. But I guess you could tweak it a little bit and get some flex in there under hard acceleration. So what I did was I added that. First of all, the bolts for this are way too long. They bind up on this heim joint. So I had to cut the bolt. But then I added this in there to space it out, to move it further away from here. And then on the other side, I reversed it and put the bushing, on the other side, I put the bushing right there. So it kind of pivoted that bar over about 3/4 of an inch. That's a big bushing. So that make sure I have plenty of clearance here, because we're gonna have a drive shaft. I mean, it's not gonna touch. I'm not the first guy to build this kit. It's just the first time I built this kit. So you could flip them and then space it closer, but You also could get rid of it altogether on this side, and you'd have more twist on your bar. But then it pivots this whole rod over just a little bit. And I like this better If we don't like it, we can always change it. It's not that hard. It's just heavy suspension components. And then all those big bolts, they're torqued to like 100 foot-pounds. I hit them with the Ugga Dugga. Set at about 100 because they're big bolts. The good thing is they're nickel coated. They're not going to rust. I didn't break too much of the coating off when I had to put them on there. Okay, so now we have to figure out how to measure for a parking brake. Y'all take a break. Okay, so for a parking brake, they're going to build them to your specs, but you have to provide measurements. So you can't measure from here to where your bracket's going to go. You got to measure the cable length. So if we have a cable, they want you to measure from this bracket to the next portion, the center bracket or the pull bracket. And we know parking brake cables are not easy to bend. So there's that. So don't make it too intricate. But I think if I got a cable here, I could run it to here. Fuck. I don't think this is stiff enough. I need a stiffer cable measuring device thingy. This is pretty suspension cable brackety-ish. So I take that. And I'm going like that. What if we go under like this, and then we could tie off on that. And then we come over like this. Because what I think I'm going to do is the center pull plate I'll mount right here. And then there's another cable that we'll measure to go into the cab. So let me. We'll take this. This will mount like this. And then this is going to mount like that. Plus or minus. It's going to mount on the bottom. Like this. So before we do any of this, I went ahead and ordered the kit with the bracket and the handle because we got to measure for that. So I'll save this video until I get that stuff, and then we'll do it all at one time and make it look like I know what I'm doing.